If you ever want to be sure to get me to talk about something on a Commonwealth Flipper video, send me a message from your account and then get a friend of yours to send a very similar sounding message. Whenever I see two people asking a similar thing, it's like a sign that I have to talk about it. Plus we have an amazing announcement today that I can't wait to get to, and a basic reselling question that I want to answer as well. Let's go take a look. All right, so I had a question come across an email and then another similar one come across in a comment, and they were very similar but very different. And one of them said, what are you going to do when eBay doesn't pay your bills anymore? And basically it was, eBay's dead. eBay's dying. It's a thing of the past. This is going to end. I'm like, interesting. And I wasn't going to answer that question at all. And then I got another one very similar. This is a Goldberg bumper sticker. But it said, hey, I've heard that YouTube doesn't pay as much for most creators as it used to. What is your exit strategy? Are you going to go back to work? And that comment, I'm going to comment on. Who's next? Goldberg bumper sticker. This one sold to a viewer. This one went for $6.99 plus shipping. Haven't sold too many of those lately. We have sold a bunch in the past. Have 32 left. And it went to Daniel, and he says, buyer's note, I'm a big fan of your channel. I'm currently a part-time reseller, but it's my dream to make it full-time eventually, and I love watching your videos for tips and tricks. I would love to get some stickers. Okay, well, you got one bumper sticker, so I've been doing this lately. I'm going to throw in another sticker here, and I'm going to throw in one of these back here as well. So we'll get that one. We'll throw this one in as well. This one, throw this one. So thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you very, very much. And I'll tell you what, my answers to one of those questions and the announcement has to do with this. I honestly think that the possibility for those people who are already in the reselling game right now, who know what they're doing, at least have some semblance of knowledge of what they're doing, I think the opportunities for what you just said about going full-time are greater than they've ever been in the past, and we'll explain that as the video goes on. The first question was, pretty easy for me. I don't have an eBay exit strategy. A reselling exit strategy. I don't think reselling is going away. Matter of fact, I think it is. I'm going to find this. They're right here. It is just the opposite. More opportunity for reselling than ever before in 60 different ways. My strategy to stop reselling is like retirement, full retirement. And I probably won't get to that, but I'll be reselling as long as I can walk around, I think. Teen Wolf 2 mask. That one sold. Did not sell for much. We've had a bunch of them, sold them over the years. Sold for $6.48 plus shipping. As far as the YouTube part of it, I don't have an exit strategy, so to speak. Social media definitely has changed, there's no doubt. And for those people who do whatever it is they do and do social media, there are some big ups and downs and big swings. And so I just developed my model around never having to depend on social media income and trying to grow different diversified ways to make money. But if you ask me, if you told me, everything's going to disappear, social media wise, money, content creation, and it definitely has changed with AI and different stuff like that. If you force me into making a decision, my exit strategy to social media is reselling and expanding reselling. Honestly, I think if I didn't take all the time to do all this, I could really expand the business. I think there's that much opportunity in reselling. And I'm trying to do both at the same time. It's hard to keep up, especially when Jess isn't here. And my wife's not here this week either. So, boy, I've been leaning on Reagan pretty hard. I honestly think we're living in the golden age in some ways of reselling. It is going to be an interesting ride, though. This little basket right here, it's got some stuff in it that didn't sell. This guy right here sold for $85. I got to take the stuff out that's not part of this lot. But $85 for this American Girl, what do you call it? Bassinet? I don't know. Moses basket. $85 plus shipping. And I think there are way more options. Reselling in so many different ways could be successful right now. I just took these in here too. I'm gonna put them in a different location. And that's gonna lead me to the third of my 4 points today here. This is an interesting one. I think you'll find it interesting as well. We'll put those right there for now. And I'm going to pull this next item because it has to do with something that happened over there on Facebook. I posted this item and said something about it. It was pretty innocuous. And I got a response that, well, it kind of ticked me off a little bit, but it is an interesting conversation. One of my pet peeves is this one-upsmanship and this arguing about different models when I'm sorry, but I see 20, 30, 40 different models out there that are perfectly wonderful, and everybody does things in different ways, and I just don't see it. But this is somebody who probably doesn't follow me from their question, because it's a question I answer all the time, which I'm going to again, and it had to do with this hat. I posted this hat, and I posted it on Facebook, and I said something like, hey, Bruce Springsteen stuff is going pretty good right now because that movie, that biopic, is coming out. So this one sold for $29 plus shipping. All right, so this hat ties into both things coming up. It ties into this question. It had to do with this hat, but it was general about reselling. And then this hat also ties in a different way to this big announcement that we've got coming up a little bit later in the show, maybe 6 sales from now. All right, so this is Red Shelf here. Okay, so I'm genuinely curious. That's how they start. So I took them at their word. Let's say you pay $5 for the hat and sell it for $29. You make $24. Minus eBay fees and packing material, etc., maybe $8. I'm going to dissect this thing. So you make $16. Plus the time you spend listing and packing, so maybe after all that you make $6. Is it worth it? And I know the argument that if you sell 1,000 items a month, etc., but that's still only $6K profit a month. Basically, is the juice worth the squeeze? For me, this model is not worth it. So interested in hearing your take on it. So before I dive into this, basically I gave my response, like I always do on here. I broke down the numbers. And my guess was I was going to make $22, $23 profit on that item. And because they asked it in a way that sounded sincere, turned out it was just an opportunity for them to say that what they do is way better than what we do. $37.58 came in. $229 of that immediately went out in sales tax because that was collected, then I don't receive it. Fees, $5.17. So we'll use that number in a minute when we dissect it. Shipping was $5.09 on this. I think I charged $6.19. And so that's, making a little bit of money. It's covering my box and all that, but there you go. Materials, 44 cents. That's what this box cost, and then I added in a couple of pennies for, a little bit of paper and tape. Cost of goods was $1. So the profit on this is $23.59. Now, of course, there's overhead costs, but in our business, y'all, the overhead is nothing compared to other businesses. You, of course, got to keep the lights on. Fortunately for me, I've had solar panels for over 3 years. I haven't had a bill. Haven't had an electric bill in over 3 years. Of course, you got to pay for the solar panels from the get-go, but that's a different story for a different day. And a lot of people ask me about that. For me, it worked out. Let's just say that. It worked out very well for me. I don't suggest a lot of other people do it unless the circumstances are right. And to be honest with you, that's probably not the case anymore. But like I said, another video, another time. So there was my response. But let's just dissect this here. Okay, so I genuinely am curious. Let's say you pay $5. I paid $1. To sell a hat for $29, you make $24. Minus eBay fees and packing materials, etc., maybe $8. So we're under $6. It's not $8. Maybe they're working off an assumption we promote or something like that. I don't. Not on items like that. So you make $16. Plus time spent listing and packing. So maybe after all, you make $6. This is where it totally went astray for me. I've never heard this kind of math before in my life. So you make 16, but plus time spent packing, so maybe after all you make 6. Is it worth it? I don't understand this logic. Help me out, y'all. And I know the argument that if you sell 1,000 items in a month, you make 6K profit, but basically that's not enough. Basically, is the juice worth the squeeze? At $6 profit on that, probably not. But that's not what we made. I've never heard anybody deduct profit from time. It doesn't make sense. And their argument, well, time is money. You just think about things differently than me. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Time is money, no doubt. But you don't do it. I think my analogy was, if you know a lawyer that makes $250,000 a year, would you tell them, oh, yeah, but, you really only make 40 after you spend all that time lawyering? It makes no sense. That's just me, unless I'm missing something. It was pretty quick that I realized that their comment was just an entree into them saying, I do things better than you. People who do things the way you do are stupid. This old, and that kind of stuff is a pet peeve of mine. I know people who sell very low dollar item stuff and make a ton of money, and I know people who sell very high dollar stuff and make a ton of money. My ASP, my average sale price, I guarantee you, is lower than most people. We sell a lot of decent price stuff all the time, but we sell a lot of little stuff as well, and I love that. That's just the way I do things. This, if they thought this was a waste of time, we'll talk about the time it took to do this listing compared to this one. This is going to take a little bit more time to ship this. This one will probably take all in maybe 6 or 7 minutes on this listing and shipping. This all in is well under 5 minutes. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this one sold for $29 plus shipping. So we started to go back and forth a little bit, and basically I called him out for, you weren't curious about the answer, because I gave you the answer, and then they just went off and basically called me a liar. They were trying to be polite, and it was ridiculous. A bunch of other people chimed in, but I think this makes some really good points out here. So if you calculate that out, now I realize there's overhead. So let's just say, because you drive around, you spend gas going to buy stuff. You get deductions, however, for that as well. I probably bought 40 items at that one yard sale. I made a killing at one yard sale. And so, you got to divide. If I buy 200 items and I'm out for 3 hours on a Saturday, you're not spending that much time doing that per item. But it still is time, right? So let's just say, you got to mitigate it a little bit when you're talking about the numbers. We'll lop off, 50 cents for that item for that, for instance. So at that, even at $23, not $23.59, and you can do that 12 times in an hour, that's $276 an hour. Now that is a very low cost, decent sale. And so let's just be very generous with this person and say, okay, some of your assumptions may be right. When you get boxes, you got to bring those boxes and you got to put them in the right place. That takes time too and whatever. So let's just say it's $200 an hour. That beats the absolute heck out of what I used to do. And it is very feasible. It is a good model. People who sell really low priced things, like for instance, these things over here, these are all multi-quantity items. I think I had 90 of those Goldberg bumper stickers at one point. I think we had like 30 of those Teen Wolf things. That takes the time per listing way down. You still have to ship it. But one listing, 90 items. So how many seconds does it take you essentially to list one item? Very, very few. And so we're going to talk about that as well. So like I said, it was an entree into them to tell us how well they do things and how we're stupid, and it was just an insult fest is what it was. And it ticks me off because there's so many good resellers out there that don't do what this person does. It sounds to me like they sell on Facebook, they sell on Etsy, and they have an actual brick and mortar store. And I'm like, ooh, I want to talk about time selling on Facebook. I want to talk about overhead with a brick and mortar store. But I'm not criticizing what they do. They're like, it like annoys me if something sells for under $100. It's just not worth it. And I'm like, okay, fine, do it. Why do you feel the need to come on here and criticize us? Here, Konica Minolta film, $55, 20 some cents. Yeah, you get the point. Plus shipping. There's another good example there. That's 10 listings done at one time. 10 different listings. So we've only sold 4, but you know what? 4 for $55 a piece. You want to talk about how much money you make for the time you put in? That's good money. And other people were chiming in too. I'm like, I know people that make $100,000 net profit a year, and they don't even work 40 hours a week. Now, I don't know a ton of people like that, but it's true. And I know people who do this full-time, work 50, 60 hours a week. They're making $150,000, $200,000 a year. Is it easy? No. Can everybody do that? No. You got to have a consistent source, in my opinion. But their comment was, oh, that's a nice start. And I'm like, man, this person is a condescending, you know what. But my only point in all this is that different models can work. And you can sell, look, just like the whole dollar store analogy, right? You can sell that stuff for super cheap and make a whole bunch of money. Or you can sell high-end stuff and make a whole bunch of money. And there's a lot of you that watch out there that I've heard people in here like, I won't sell anything for less than $75. I'm like, fine, good, happy for you. That's a great model. And you just got to take into account the time. What are your goals? You know, some people like Daniel earlier, you know, wants to be a full-time reseller. Those are good, important questions to ask yourself for what model you want, what your needs are. What do you need to survive? That's my kind of rule of thumb when people ask me to, you know, should I become a full-time reseller? I'm like, well, I kind of share the numbers with them. Like, if you do this many hours and you're good at it and you know what you're doing, you could expect to make about this much money. If you source in these ways, you might be able to make this much money. If you source in these ways, you might be able to make this much money if you're a live seller. There's all kinds of variables. The real question is, figure out how much money you can make doing the methods you can to the best of your ability. Figure out how much money you need to survive. Let's say you need $100,000 a year to survive, just because it's a round number. I would say if you can only make $100,000 a year doing it, then no, you shouldn't take that gamble. If you can make, say, $130,000 doing it, then you've got enough money to put away for the future as well and to take care of those things that people don't often get when you're in business for yourself. So I personally look at every item based on time. Like, for instance, this one. I didn't buy this one. It came from Death Pile Picker's lot, I believe. This is the kind of thing I try to avoid in a lot of ways. It's still going to make me profit. It was still worth the time. $18 plus shipping for the Fisher-Price Crazy Combo Horn Set from 1984. 18 plus shipping. But this is an irregular sized item. It doesn't fit in most boxes. It's going to require cutting down a box. It's going to add a couple of minutes to a sale, which isn't the end of the world. And I'll still do it for sure. This one adds a little bit of time. This one adds a little bit of time, but it's a way bigger profit, so I don't mind that. But this is the kind of stuff I love. This stuff is amazing. If I could find tons of this kind of stuff, holy moly, I could make an absolute killing out there. $18 plus shipping. So I'm going to grab one more thing. This is actually a viewer sale over here. And it's some VHS, some sealed Indiana Jones VHS. They're the young Indiana Jones. I would not have bought one. I think they ended up getting them for 50 cents a piece. So I'm into it for $2. They sold for $17. Boy, I gotta move a lot of stuff, see? If you didn't do it the way I did it, I'm displaying stuff. It takes more time to find it than it does to list it half the time. Indiana Jones right there. Two of the 4 are sealed. No, one of the 4 are sealed. And they sold for $17. Easy shipper. Fit right perfectly in the box that I have down here. 2 into $17 plus shipping. So looking at the numbers, and this is not me criticizing different models. I just want to make a point here. And I think a lot of you know this out there. You know, let's say you're selling a really nice vase or something. It's big, it's glass. You got to research it and list it. It's going to take a little bit of time to do that. Certainly more time than these type of items are going to sell or take to list. And then you got to package that thing up. Packaging something like that takes significantly longer. Just ask Tim over the years. Significantly longer. You might put half an hour into an item or more that you're selling for $100 that you maybe paid $10 for. Really nice profit. But the hourly wage on an item like that is far less than that hat. So if you can find 4 of those things, you're going to do far better, in my opinion. That's not to criticize one model over another. It's just to point out that a lot of different models can work. I would say this person, I can almost guarantee with some of these items, is spending a half an hour on an item. Guaranteed. And if you're selling it for $300-$400 and you paid $50, then you're making more than me. If you're selling it for $100 and spending a half an hour, then you're not making more than me. It really comes down to each individual item and how much time you have to put into it. I think a lot of people don't take that into account when they're out there picking. And honestly, the time on that, we're going to talk about that with the big announcement here in a second. This one right here, I think things are changing so much that you can really think about this business differently. I like these because they were yellow handled. Sometimes you find them with red, sometimes you find them with black. The black doesn't go as well. Wish Finland scissors, big old suckers. I figured I'd pick this up for $1 a sale or 2 or 3 or whatever I did. These sell okay, but the yellow is what I thought would make it sell. And it sold $21.95 plus shipping. I just remembered I didn't give him a thank you for the VHSs. And he says, hey, Kevin and the Commonwealth team, my wife and I love your content, both picking and flipping. And I just wanted to say thanks for being a motivator and providing tons of great content to have on while I grind. Awesome. Very cool. Stay well and have an amazing Q4. Jacob, thank you. Thank you for buying those VHS. I really do appreciate that. And that's the truth. I try to do that. I try to be very positive in here and just say, and I get criticized, y'all. I get criticized for people saying, you know, why do you say that it's the best opportunity in reselling? It's because I believe it. If you don't believe it, I'm fine with it. But for those out there, there is an opportunity right now, and it ties in a little bit with this, without this announcement, but it ties into this announcement as well. There is opportunity. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. You gotta know what you're doing? Yes, you gotta know what you're doing. But it is out there, and people are making moves to capitalize on it, and some people are getting left behind. And if you've been watching my channel, I'm kind of stuck in a place where I love social media and it pays me money, but I see so much opportunity. I want to make moves, but for me, it requires hiring people, and that is a headache that I just don't want. And that's a 14 Pro. I'm hoping it's one of these raspberry jelly 16. I think this is what's sold right here, the Rode case with the lip jelly stuff. And it is, that's 16 Pro. That's the 16. $26 plus shipping, but I gotta find the right one. Now I'm a little scared because I don't see any more of that color down there. Hopefully I didn't ship out the wrong one. I might have. 16 Pro. That says 16. That says 14 Pro Max. Now I'm scared. Alright, I went back and looked at the picture, and it is one that does not have a box. So this should be it right here. So even without the box, 16 Pro, there you go. Even without the box, that sold for 26. I paid for all of those, plus the dozen or so I've already sold, plus another 20 or so cases that I sold on Vivint.com. I paid 15 bucks for all of it. I had no idea. I was shocked when I got home. I thought they were all cases. I saw a couple of these things in there at the sale. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe I'll get lucky. And I got lucky on almost all of them. 26 bucks for shipping. Now let's talk about time per listing, and then I'll give my big announcement here. And I'm going to keep it abbreviated on here because not all people want to hear it. I'll put a longer version somewhere else. I'm looking for this bin. Here is the hat right here. The Atlanta Braves look like a spring training hat right there. I think that's right. This one as well as this one were part of my List Easier batch. These, I think we've sold over half of the 42 at this point. And this one sold for $18.05 plus shipping. So that person's comment, they actually said, when I responded and said, hey, 5 minutes, and I gave them the number, you know, they responded kind of jokingly, we all know it takes a lot longer than 5 minutes to list an item. And I was like, a hat? No, it doesn't. And I didn't even get into List Easier. I just said, hey, I can list a hat. Yeah, I should do that. Maybe I'll do it on a video. I'll just pull a hat and I'll list it for you like live. And you'll see. I can list a hat if it doesn't need cleaning, if it's already in good shape. I can list a hat in 2 minutes, period, just like that. Maybe a little bit longer, depending on the hat. If you can find a good comp for it really quickly, you can list it pretty darn quick. A lot of people are like, what are you talking about? Who can list? If you know, you know. You can list it. If you got your methods down right, you can list something very, very quickly. I do it all the time. And yeah, some listings do take well over 5 minutes. There's no doubt about it. They take way more pictures. If you got to clean something, test something. I didn't even mention to them that I listed that item in under a minute. I listed both of these items in under a minute. It took, you know, it takes a little while to take pictures. We had 42 hats. I didn't time it, but my guess is to take, say, 4 pictures of every single hat. Let's say 5 pictures of 42 hats. I could do that in 20 minutes. If they're all sitting right there and they're all in good shape, it's not that hard to take pictures. You could do it really quickly. And so 20 minutes, I literally listed those hats in 10 minutes using List Easier. Well, that's not entirely true because it took a little while for them to load. So I was doing something else while it was loading. But if you take the time I actually took to list them, it's 30 minutes for 42 hats. And so really the time spent on that item is more like 3 minutes, something like that. So those kind of things I don't think people take into account. And to be honest, this is what the announcement is about. When I've been talking about List Easier, a lot of people are ticked off at me for talking about it, but it is just too big to ignore. And I want to thank this audience for this announcement that I'm going to make right now. And I'm going to keep it brief and get back to picking because I got to take my daughter to gymnastics in 1 minute. So it'll be really brief. And then when I come back, I'll keep picking. I've had suggestions, I've had input because of this audience, because enough people watch me here on YouTube, Commonwealth Picker channel, Commonwealth Flipper channel. Garage Sale Nation. They watch the podcast. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and we have a massive following, over 500,000 people on Facebook. And because of that, when I ask for something that my audience asks for, sometimes we get it. And they went above and beyond. So the 1,000 listings for $69, which is amazing, by the way. 7 cents blows everybody else out of the water. I realize there's some people don't want to do it for other reasons. Fine. So just turn it off right now. Come back and scroll ahead a minute, 2 minutes, and you'll be good to go. I'll put a detailed explanation over there on Garage Sale Nation. I'll do it dedicated just so those people can watch it. But not only did they go down to a smaller plan, they went smaller than I even asked for. And they didn't tie it to a month. They tied it to the listings. And in my opinion, this just means that Eeasier blew everybody out of the water and won the competition. Still improvements to be made, no doubt. Still needs to be on an app, in my opinion. And that is coming down the road as well. But 100 listings for $15 and they don't expire. You can use them whenever you want. You could, if you use them all up in 2 weeks, you can buy 100 more. That blows the other people out of the water. These 50-cent AI lister stuff was just crazy for me from the get-go. It didn't make sense. Only people it made sense for were the ones who were paying people assistants all over the world to do their stuff for them. Or paying an actual person to do it. Doesn't make sense for us mom and pops. And so it leveled the playing field. They started doing this with giant corporations that wanted to use this technology. Then they dropped down and we're getting people for, 1,000 listings a month. To me, that's too much for me. And I hope to get to that point, but I'm not there yet. And so doing it this way just leveled the playing field. You can use the same technology as anybody else. That link is down below. There is no code Commonwealth. You got to go through the link. That'd be nice because I get a little kickback. But there is no code Commonwealth that gets you a discount on that $14.99 a month. Or not a month, $14.99 for 100 listings. So that's not there. But I think for most people, if you list more than 400 already, go ahead and get the 1,000 plan. Use code Commonwealth, you get $30 off of that one. For everybody else, if you're not planning on using this for like 100, for more than say 400 or 500 listings, then do it and try it. Hey, there's also a university. Don't just do this blindly. Know what the heck you're doing. I'll link that down below too. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to teaching people what to do in different little ins and outs because it is an acquired skill. I think I could have doing it a second batch of those hats. My next batch is coming soon. I've said that for 2 weeks, but I'm so busy. Not of hats. I don't know. I'm going to branch out. I'm going to start doing different stuff so I can report back to you what works and what doesn't work and what is amazing and what's not amazing. But use that link below. At this point, it's affordable for everybody. 15 cents is double the 7 cents, obviously, more than double. But it's probably cheaper because who the heck's going to put up 1,000 listings a month using it? At this point, probably 20% of resellers is all. But now it's out there for all of us. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'll make a whole video, put it on the Garage Sale Nation channel. If you're interested in it, check it out. We'll just talk about picking and selling. All right, so there you go, Daniel. There is an answer to your question. I think, I don't know. I don't want to overstate this. Let me tell you about this. Sonic Tools. This one's 56 bucks, I think. $56.95. I love finding, I've never, even heard of this brand. But tool stuff, man, let me tell you, there's some money in it. And I don't even like tools. I'm talking about the accessories and stuff. $56.95 plus ship. All right, so you know me. I don't like to overhype something, but I'm just excited about where things are going. There's so many more tools, people like Daniel, I would say this. There's probably as much or more opportunity to do this as a quote-unquote full-time income, especially for people who already one income in the house is already, bringing in quite a bit of money, and theirs maybe not as much. I think that kind of an opportunity where, it's tough to put all your eggs in one basket and just like, oh, I'm quitting everything. I'm going to sell junk in a shed in my backyard. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are so many different courses, not courses, but paths you can take. And there's so many opportunities. I'm just interested to see some of the creativity out there. If somebody's gone a new path lately and it's worked for them, let me know. And maybe it's a new path for them professionally, like a job that they've shifted into reselling in some way and they're doing something unique. I'd love to hear it in the comments. I'm seeing so many people do interesting things, and a lot of people using this new type technology like List Easier. Or maybe you're doing something completely different. Am I the only one who thinks there's just crazy opportunity here? And I also think that there is a tightening of the amount of people doing this because of the expertise, because of the knowledge base involved, because of the space involved. That's been the other thing. I need to pick some items. Let me do this one point. Like, I was at a sale this last Saturday, and because I've been dabbling with this List Easier and I see the opportunity with it, I still do consistent normal one-off listings because it's been what I've done for 25 years. But now I'm looking at things a little bit differently. I bought a bunch of, this lady had some cosmetics, she had some perfumes and lotions and all kinds of stuff. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, normally I'd pick through that stuff. And I'd pick the $50 items and stuff. I just said, ma'am, how much you want for everything? Because I'm like, I could just run all that stuff through that LE thing and see how it does. So anyway, there's a bunch of opportunity out there for sure, no matter which direction you head. But for me, space is becoming an obstacle for me as well. And I'm actually looking like, all right, how do I expand this thing? These are super cool. Whoa, little Apple canisters. Little vintage aluminum canisters. I think this was a third viewer sale of the day, actually. I'm not sure I can get these with one hand. Let me put the camera down. Somebody buy that thing for me. I'm so tired of seeing that thing in here. I thought I was going to do so good. I bought it dirt cheap. Still here. Send me an offer. All right, this one went to, it says Michael. Bargain Baggins. Oh, I like that name. I'm a sporadic YouTube watcher of yours. These will be great for my MCM kitchen. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, and those are really cool. There's a little bit of wear on the bottom of them, but the tops look amazing. I don't know how old they are. I would guess probably mid to late 70s. I don't think I told you what they sold for. $26.95 plus shipping. I think that's a pretty good deal right there. I went inside to get a sweatshirt. No Name saw me come out. Come on. You can come in. Come on. Come on. For sure. Marines, United States Marine Corps. I think this is one... Nope, I bought a similar one. This hadn't been listed for that long. So for $19.92 plus shipping on that sweatshirt. It's sweatshirt season, y'all. Look, I had to put on a shirt. You want a treat? I'll get you one. I have a confession to make. For all of you who say, you couldn't do this without the help of your family. You couldn't do this without Jess. You couldn't do this with what... You're 100% right. I absolutely could. Can I tell you about my week for a second? So... Jess is obviously not here. Did you just jump up there? You got an obstacle course to get through today. I just gave you a treat. Stay right there. So, Jess has been gone now for about 2 weeks. Her mom's still struggling a little bit. She's helping her out. And my wife is now gone. My wife is on a cruise with her mother and her 2 aunts for just, a little while. I'm happy they could all do that, but I am drowning. I'm just absolutely drowning over here. I turned the camera off and took Reagan to practice. I came home. Well, I started off the day doing a Dibdid show today, and my daughter helped me with that. And then we, of course, do all the content and all the stuff we got to do and edit videos and post shorts and do all the stuff. And I had to take my daughter to practice today. I filmed a little bit, turned it off. Now we're back on. Turner's got to go to practice in 10 minutes. I've got to turn it off again. I'm going to take him to practice. And then I'm going to come back and work for about a half an hour. And then I'm going to go pick him up from practice. Because they're a little ways away. Reagan practices a long time. Then I'm going to come home and hopefully ship a couple items by then. Go back and pick Reagan up. Holy moly. And do it all again tomorrow. It's been tough. I could not. I haven't even listened to anything today. Nothing. I really desperately want to get into this LE thing and start getting through some of the stuff I've bought specifically for it. And I just don't have time. Maybe I can get 5-10 listings up tonight in the traditional old way. And this is crazy. I could not. I feel for you. I appreciate all of you out there who do, I haven't felt like this since I was teaching. I was teaching and I was working 40 hours, 50 hours a week, and then coming home and doing this and doing social media at the beginning. And I literally was working 16, 18 hours a day and just killing myself. And I feel like I'm trying to do everything that I typically do. and I just simply can't do it. So something's going to have to give. I'm going to have to start doing short form content or something until people get back and help me, because I am just swimming in this stuff. So a little Tonka truck here. A little 1970s Tonka truck. If I can get it out of there without busting anything, it'd be nice. Come on, stand up. It's not going to stand up. There, put you back there. Get that glass mushroom paperweight out of the way. This guy didn't sell for a ton, but he sold for something, I suppose. $18 and I don't know. I don't see it. I don't think I wrote it down. $18 and change plus shipping. And this was a bad listing from the get-go. This is some Lego Friends. Not high-end stuff, but it's a bunch of Lego. And it didn't sell forever. Went on 30% off. $16.07 plus shipping. That's probably not terribly worth it, but you know what? I'll take it. I bought this, not this last weekend, but the weekend before on the way to my boys' baseball game. And then I listed it while I was at my boys' baseball game. But the intention was to use List Easier, but I just haven't been home. I drove 2 hours to 2 baseball games and then came back because there was no hotels. Then I drove 2 hours back. I don't know. I love baseball, though. I like watching my boy play, and we drive all over for gymnastics. We do all that crazy stuff that parents do today that our parents would never have done for us. Anyway, they're only young ones, I guess. These are German blown glass ornaments. They are cool. I paid $30 for that whole box, and I think we've come close to making 30 back on 2 sales. Plus, I sold a few over on Dibdit today as well, so we're in the profit. $12.09. They're Inge glass German blown glass Christmas ornaments. $12.95 for that one, plus shipping. I'm not going to put it there. I'm going to put it somewhere a little bit safer. There you go. These next ones, I don't know, I probably shouldn't have bought them. They're 50 cents a piece. There was 8 of them. I think I got them for $5 for all of them, and they did not sell very quickly. Adventures in Odyssey VHS. I bought them because it was a lot. It'd be a lot easier to sell them as a lot. And I'm like, yeah, $5. We'll probably get 20. Well, we didn't get 20. Sold on 30% off. And they sold for $14 plus shipping. So still a profit, but not a great one. Next one, I picked it up a while back, but the video just came out. I'm like weeks behind at this point on some of those picker videos. I'm hoping to skip ahead and get a little bit more current. Anyways, I grabbed this one at a sale. This one was on the, I don't know, about a week ago, maybe, Commonwealth picker video. If I can find it. Y'all see a Zelda in there? There it is right there. Just a $1 purchase. And this one sold for $16.95. It's the 4th viewer sale today. You guys have been kind to me. Q4 for us gets busy. I know it doesn't for everybody. For us, it really, really does. Viewer sales go up too. Very, very kind of y'all. But it's just the kind of stuff we sell, I think. I don't really know. Q4 has always been good for us. And let's see, what do we got here? Amy. Hi, Kevin. Love watching your videos, especially on your Flipper channel. Well, cool. I'm learning a lot. Thank you and God bless. Thank you and thank you for the purchase. Y'all have those regret buys? When look, there's one thing worse than a regret buy that sells, and that's a regret buy that doesn't sell. But this one it was like $1 at a sale. I think my dad pointed it out. Everything was so cheap, and I'm like, yeah, I'll grab it. But then you think of the time you put into something like this, because you got to check, make sure everything's there, right? And then it's like, ugh, man, I just spent 20 minutes on something I'm gonna make $8 on, and that's basically what happened, because it did not sell at 30, but it did at 30% off, $10.50 plus shipping. That's not worth the time. So whoever said that about this, you were wrong. But this one, I think I agree. All right, so I could keep going. I got a lot more. We'll put it on the next video, I guess, because I got stuff to do. I gotta go pick up these kids, take care of these animals. Man, it's tough. If you're a single parent out there, I feel you, because I'm a single dad right now. It's killing me. So at any rate, hurry back, Blue Ridge Mama. Hurry back, Jess. Everybody, I need help. Bail me out. Throw me a life preserver. I appreciate y'all, and I can't wait to see you next time.